What's going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to talk about how to hire the right CPA or tax preparer, someone who can actually save you thousands of dollars and not just run you through their pipeline. By the end of this video, you guys are going to know 3 things that you should look out for whenever you're approaching any tax preparer. Number 1, the biggest thing is make sure that this individual understands your industry. I can't tell you how important it is that, if you're in real estate specifically, somebody who understands the real estate law. If you're in restaurants, people need to know restaurants, so forth and so on. Because the tax book or the tax publications, they're thick. Some say there's estimates of 60,000 pages, and there's no way that any one preparer is well-versed in the entire IRS publication. So you want somebody who really understands your niche, somebody who can find those loopholes for you, and they understand your industry enough to do it the right way, also to avoid audits. A great example in the real estate space is a lot of people want to qualify for real estate professional status, right? Now, there is a certain requirement, and there's also a certain proof or documentation that you should be able to provide, all of which should be explained to you well before you start to try to claim it throughout the year. Another important one is depreciation. All right, your rental assets you can depreciate, and your basis of your depreciation, basically how much is the total amount that you can slowly take out over the years, well, that gets changed throughout the year depending on how you classify improvements and things of that nature. I've seen a lot of tax preparers really mess this up. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what's required is for the investor, the end individual, to go back and amend their returns, which costs more money, takes more time, and ultimately is just a pain that we all can avoid if we go to our industry-specific tax preparer. Now, the second thing is you want to make sure that this tax preparer, is asking you questions. And it may seem like it's a ridiculous amount of questions, but guys, you want them to be asking the questions. If they're not asking questions, then they could be missing out on opportunities to get you to apply for tax credits, for multiple deductions, all these different things that you may not know if you qualify for, and they won't know unless they ask those questions. Even if they can't qualify you for more deductions or tax credits or things like that, asking the right questions can also help them file the right forms to help you avoid penalties. Because penalties are just as bad, if not worse, than missing out on deductions. For example, if you are not being asked if you have any type of foreign assets, foreign bank accounts, foreign investments, that's a red flag. And sometimes the questions may be redundant, right? You're obviously going to be asked, was there any change in your marital status? Did you move homes? Can you show me proof of identification? And if you work with the same tax preparer for several years, you may think that this is redundant. But a good tax preparer, who is also a licensed, credentialed individual, whether it's enrolled agent or a CPA, something to that effect, well, they're required to ask for those things over and over again. Now, here's the honest truth, guys. Do you need a license or a certification to file taxes for another individual? The answer is no, you do not. Now, I am not telling you that you should absolutely only select licensed and credentialed individuals. There are some that are skilled without the credentials. However, if they don't know your industry and they're not asking you questions, those are 2 major red flags as to why you may want to find a better tax preparer. Now, before we get to number 3, if you're enjoying this content, then just do us a quick favor. Go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and let us know what other type of content you'd like to learn about or hear about. It's important that this content is made for you, not just for me to talk at a camera here. But let's go ahead and jump into number 3, which is really important, is this individual responsive? Are they actually answering the questions that you're asking? And are they asking the questions that you may not know need to be asked? Nothing frustrates me more than when you ask a question, something very direct. For example, hey, should I document this information throughout the year? And what you end up getting in return is a very kind of vague answer or response, should I say, that doesn't even give you the details of what you're asking for. Now, to be fair, we're not mind readers. But at the same time, if I was to ask, or if you were to ask, hey, I want to take a home office at the end of the year, what do I need to provide? Or, hey, do I need to be worried about tax planning? Is my tax liability high? You're going to want some sort of response back. Right? Even if it's just, here's a checklist. Why don't you do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, so on and so forth. Now, let's be clear. When you go to these tax preparers, you are not the only client. Got it. So there's going to be a queue or a line of people kind of lined up saying, hey, here's my stuff to do my taxes. All right. So if we, as the individual, if we're kind of piecemealing our stuff, we don't have a complete package to put together, and we're trying to get a lot of information from the tax preparer during tax season, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But when they do respond in tax season, you want it to be useful. Now, if it's not in tax season, they're a little bit more able to respond, but you want it to be useful. And you want it to be prompt. A lot of people do not understand that there are penalties associated with late filings. Okay. Now there's two types of costs, if you will, with the late filing. When you do the late filing without an extension, now you have a penalty for that. You can do the extension and push it from March or April in the year all the way down to September or October. And now you're not going to have a late filing penalty. However, you are still going to accrue interest if you go beyond March or April. Now, a lot of people aren't aware of that. But again, a lot of tax preparers aren't informing you of these things. So if the ball is in this tax preparer's court, meaning we've done our job, we've got them everything that they need, and they're taking a long time to respond, that could be an issue because it's quite literally costing us money. Now, if we look at just these three things, do they have industry knowledge? Do they ask a ton of questions, even though it might be annoying? And are they responsive to this? Now, it may sound like a very simple list, but not only have I personally experienced tons of tax preparers who can't meet those three, I have also seen it for a bunch of our clients. When we'll look at the tax returns and they're just completely botched. I'll try to reach out on behalf of the client to get some information, and it takes a month or 2 months or 3 months. So guys, it's something that's very simple, and that's how we like to keep it. What is something that's simple yet impactful? And if you guys follow those three things, you will start to find tax preparers who truly can save you money. If you like this video, then go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.